Good evening, everyone. Happy daylight savings time to North America. Yeah, I know it's fucked up, everyone. Everyone's fucked up now. You know what? I didn't even know what time the show was tonight. I had to ask someone, like, somebody please tell me. I can't figure this out. It'll be even worse because next week Europe changes because we haven't. 2 weeks from now. Next weekend. Oh, so 2 weekends from now Europe changes, and I think about a week after that Australia changes. So me trying to organize times for shows with Ben is going to be like, get out Google and look it up. So yes, it is March 11th. And us over here in Europe, at least some of us over here in Europe, had some weather. Finally had some lovely sunshine. Saw the sun. No chemtrails today or anything. It was delightful. Yeah, for sure. So, yes, as you can see, my kids were out at the beach all day today, and they all got sunburned.
We were doing a cleanup as the anniversary of the Azure window falling.
Yep.
That's what today was.
Ah, yes, that's right. Thank you. So today was the anniversary, 1 year anniversary of the Azure window collapsing. And it was kind of cool, and I don't have the photos yet. I have to ask Musha if she's got them. They had a pump boat out parked exactly where the Azure window was, pumping an arc of water up to represent over where the Azure window used to be.
I was talking to one of our friends that lives here. She was saying when they're doing the rainbow thing, like with the water, like apparently they do a rainbow thing where it reflects a big rainbow or something like that.
Maybe.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Moosh took photos. We'll have to wait and see if Moosh has got the photos of it. But apparently they did a big. My kids are part of the ERRC cadets, which is the emergency rescue. So they learn first aid and everything right from like Kale. It was like 8 all the way up. And they did a big beach cleanup in Dwayra today, like massive cleanup. Up and through the fields, all the roads, all the way around, the ditches.
And the puddles and stuff like that. And they got to go ziplining afterwards. I didn't get to go because by the time everyone else had gone, and I helped getting everyone set up and dealing with the twins that were trying to run on the edge of the cliffside and giving me a heart attack, they were closing up, so I didn't get to go.
No,
but Kira went.
Did she? I'll have to ask her about it tomorrow. So yeah, some interesting stuff going on this week. There's been a couple of interesting articles out there. Number one, I would say I would highly advise everyone to go to I'll have to try and find the link. I may even still have it open somewhere. If you know, Clif High does the Three Amigos show. Oh, whoa, who's feeding back? It was Ann. Ann was just feeding back really badly for a second. It's okay, Ann. We muted you. There is a show with Clif High and Bix Weir and oh my God, what's Jason Smith? They do the Three Amigos. They just did a new recording this week. Clif High has just released his Cliff Notes, his next quarter report, and it's apparently got some real interesting shit in it. I haven't read it yet. I'm looking forward to maybe sitting down tomorrow and reading it. But he gets into some of the stuff on the Three Amigos. They just recorded 2 days ago. There's some interesting stuff that he talks about. Interesting stuff. Interesting dates. So I guess we'll go into that. So we've had a lot of discussion in Unfuckers over the last few weeks about, I guess what kind of triggered it off was someone posted a video of Allison Coe, and somebody help me, it's a type of hypnotism, it's Dolores Cannon stuff. Somebody help me. QHHT, thank you, QHHT. Basically, it's hypnotism sessions, and she was doing, wasn't her doing the sessions, it was her giving kind of a rundown of some of the recent sessions that she'd had. And I have no idea what triggered me to even watch the video, because I don't get into a lot of this stuff that's very, hypnotism and readings and things and past life regression type things. I don't have enough time in my day to watch all that stuff. So, but for some reason, this video caught my attention, and I listened to it. And she has a couple of things to say that are very interesting, like the type of things that caught my attention, and not so much about dates, etc., but some of the experiences that these people were describing while under a hypnosis, and it was all to do with the event. You all know what that means, the event, which is, of course, something a whole shitload of us discussed back in 2012, and a lot of people were all very involved. The event is coming, blah, 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 blah. And, of course, there was 1,000 different versions of what that event was or how it would play out, etc. So, really, since 2013-14, I have not really followed that kind of stuff whatsoever. But this video caught my attention. And there's a few things that are said that are very interesting because of the fact of, like I said, my own experiences in doing remote viewing and things like that. Very, very similar stories. Very, very similar stories. So I started going off, and I went and kind of backtracked a few of her other videos and different things. And she had started with a video, I'm not sure when the first one was, but it was in probably March or April of 2017, saying that basically she did a quick rundown saying that she had a couple of clients come in to do past life regression type stuff, and they started talking about the event. And the dates that they gave was March 2018. So I went through and I skipped through a couple of these videos. And it's interesting because, like I said, there's some data points in there that are, well, like I said, they coincide with some of the things that I've seen, some of the things that I've theorized on over the years, such as purportedly the event is a high energy particle event. Well, it was described in different ways from different people's perspectives, but that's what I took from it. And that it was coming from the sun, whether it's our sun or the galactic center sun, etc., etc. So a lot of people really, really jumped on this subject, and it kind of felt like for a couple of weeks we rode this wave of everyone talking about the event. And it's interesting for me because I went back and did some more research on some of the shit that I was researching back in 2012. So, for example, the Russian scientist, which I am never going to be able to say his name, I will someone remind me to post a link because I do have the link saved somewhere. The Russian scientist who came out apparently in 1998 the first time, talking about the fact that our solar system is going to be moving into a high energy particle cloud, and that there were all these effects that it could have, etc., etc. But the basis of it basically is they don't know. We don't have any clue how this is going to affect us, how it's going to affect the planet. And later on, there was a few more that came up, obviously, after 1998, where he did updates. And I went looking at some of that information because, I haven't been watching the solar stuff very much because the sun is a dead stick right now. Like we're in such a solar minimum. We are reportedly in this grand solar minimum, which means the sun is like, there's almost no sunspots. There's almost no solar flares. So I really haven't been paying attention for the last year. Not very much. So I went looking at some stuff, and I had and it's funny. Manifesting what you want, the information you want, is getting very, very easy. And it seems like you toss out an idea, like even to yourself, you say, oh, I need this, and next thing you know, when you pull up YouTube, there'll be 3 videos that are exactly on the topic that you want to discuss. So I went in and I looked, and there was one by Suspicious Observers, who I haven't really followed a lot in the last few years, and he did a 1-hour video, and he was talking about high energy particles. He was talking about pole reversal, etc. And there was all of this stuff gives a taste, and some of them a very strong taste, of fear. Oh my God, this thing is going to happen. Oh my God, it's going to be terrible. The poles will reverse. There's going to be this. There's going to be, ring of fire is going to blow up and blah, 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 blah. And so there's still around the whole subject a real decided twist to the fear porn side of it. What you're getting out of the more scientifically minded people. Now, what was interesting, to go back to the initial video, the date that came up repeatedly throughout this entire year when Alison Coe was asking her clients while they were under hypnosis when this event would happen, was either the end of the first quarter, March, basically was the most common date given. Now, since then, we get dates get thrown around. And you know me, I hate dates. Anytime someone gives a date, I'm just like, don't want to hear dates. Just fuck off, because we've all gone through this 85,000 times. Dates are given, dates go by, nothing ever happens, etc., etc. Or at least nothing, perhaps, as we would wish it to happen. But certain dates are coming up. And I'm finding it very interesting that people are describing physical responses, things that they're going through. And one of the things that was interesting about Alison Coe's stuff was the fact of all these people under hypnosis said that it wasn't like just a massive wave, boom, that was going to come through. That the event had already started, the energies were already coming in, kind of like the leading edge of the wave, if you will, was already coming in and was building. And it's really interesting because in the last 2 months, things have gotten really fucking strange. Like, really fucking strange. And we're seeing people talking about how they're feeling. People are having these physical symptoms of just being dizzy, the exhaustion, pain, heart pounding, all kinds of things. And it's not just people in the awakened community. Like for the last couple of weeks, I've been kind of scrolling through my Facebook wall, trying to get a feel of what other people are saying. And every day I find at least 1 or 2 posts by friends of mine, sometimes they're old high school friends, things like that. Definitely people who are not with it, not awake, as we'll call it. And thank you, Megan. Thank you. And they're talking about all these symptoms. And it was funny, I had a big conversation with Anne last week. And we were discussing all this stuff, discussing symptoms from obviously the health perspective of it, taking them apart and really looking at stuff that was going on. And at the same time, I get a message from a buddy of mine here in Gozo saying, I just got a message from a friend of mine at home in England, and he's kind of freaking out because he can't see straight. He's seeing like sparklies, and he's seeing all this weird shit and flashes of light, etc., etc. And Sean said to him, no problem, I got a friend, I'll ask. If anyone will know, she'll know. So he sends me this message. And I was like, oh, we're seeing this. It's corroborating evidence? Is that what we want to call it? Of something? And the dates. So getting back to Clif High. In this report with the 3 Amigos, he starts talking about some dates. And he throws out a date in the middle of March. I think he said March 17th to 19th. There was going to be something that was going to happen that was going to cause an emotional shift in people. And then he said again in April, around April 21st, there was going to be another one. And there was going to say an emotional shift in people that was going to be very, very positive. All of a sudden, people were going to be very feeling really happy and positive in their outlook. He talked about it as a financial thing too, as well, and the fact that people would be. Is my internet lagging, guys? What? Why is my internet lagging?
You're doing okay here for me. You were getting a little weird at the beginning, but you seem to be going fine here.
Huh. Okay, guys. Sorry. If it gets really bad and I need to back up, just tell me.
Lisa's also been talking about this. She's been talking about March 18th of something happening on that day.
Well, there's several people who've mentioned March 18th, and that's what I was just going to get to. Triple Crow 777, sorry, just did a big report in the last couple of days, talking about the spring equinox. And the spring equinox this year is not going to fall on the official date that they always try to give us, and that by his calculations, it should fall between the 18th and the 19th, I think he said. And he said that there's going to be a lot of really crazy stuff going on, and everyone should keep aware of it. And I didn't get a chance to listen to the whole video yet, so it was there was going to be lunar waves, and he said anyone who's filming. I was thinking of J-Ling. I got to drop the message to J-Ling. Say, get your camera out. He said that people should film this because they will probably see some really interesting shit if they can get some good film footage of the moon during this time. So the date keeps coming up. And you know me, I hate dates. I don't do dates. I don't fucking do dates. What I do look at is cause and effect, if you will. And we're seeing an increase. We're seeing an increase of people being affected by these things. We're seeing more and more strange behavior, even like animals. My dude here has been very, very high needs. Man, he's been stalking me all weekend, like on my ankles all fucking weekend, and having to cuddle up with us continuously. We were literally watching a movie just before we did the show, and he had to lie on me. So people are oh, you're coming right over, are you? Really? Really? You can sit down. Yes, go lie down. Lie down. Go lay down. You can't make it. It's too the chair's pushed too far away. Oh, you are gonna try. Oh, there's gonna be a crash in a second. He's gonna dump my chair over backwards. Dude, you're gonna knock my chair over. Please stop. Yes, speaking of needy animals. Cats doing really, really strange stuff. And kids. All my kids are going through these things. So it's like I said, they're all feeling really tired. No, you get down. Get down. You're gonna fall. You're going to fall. Or you're gonna knock me over backwards. Yeah, they got a lot of sun today, etc. But they're also just like, and Nick felt that way yesterday. I felt that way the day before yesterday. It's kind of like waves. It does honestly feel like waves of stuff coming through. And because you guys know me, I go through and I look at every angle and I analyze everything, and I'm not someone who's going to jump in and say it's this or it's this. But I've looked at all the angles and said, you know what? You can't explain it by saying, oh, it's 5G, or it's chemtrails, or it's pick a weaponized frequency machinery piece. You can't, because it's hitting people differently. And it's hitting people differently all the time, except that we're seeing it through everyone. But again, it's not if it was chemtrails, if it was 5G, if it was someone putting out, what these Gwen towers or whatever, putting out negative, horrible frequencies, more people would feel the exact same thing at the same time. That's not what we're seeing. No, I have a theory, and Anne, I was going to talk to you about this today, but then I never got back to the computer. And it came up because someone else posted a really cute thing about deja vu in the Unfuckers room. And it was like an explanation graphic, an infographic of deja vu. And it basically went, the concept of string theory is that there could be all these multiple universes, multiple dimensions, which we all exist on at the exact same time. And that if the frequencies of two strings, i.e. two Earths, get close in touch, that it could trigger what we would see as deja vu. And we got into several discussions on it. And I said, the difference in that would be the fact of each person has their own frequency. So if these two strings, say, for example, touched, it's not going to affect every single person in the world, because it would only be if you're you and you, the you and the you on both sides, your frequencies were exactly aligned at the same time, that maybe that would trigger something like deja vu. In the same way, I'm wondering if we're looking at, and let's look at it purely scientifically, we know that our solar system is going through the photon cloud. We know the science has been doing this, and we have lots of backup stuff that's coming through bits and pieces, because they're not really talking about it hugely, but we have lots of corroborating evidence that we're getting a lot of high energy particles coming through to the Earth, etc. All energies are frequency, and we have our own frequency. If this is coming through in waves, or even tendrils, which is kind of the way I put it, tendrils of energy coming through, each of those would have a frequency. And I don't think it would affect absolutely everyone the same way, except if you were in the similar frequency band. And I think those are the moments when we have those, all of a sudden you sit there and you go, wow, like, I just need to go lay down. Last week, I swear I had a nap. I felt like I needed to have a nap almost 4 or 5 days in a row. If your frequency is very close to the frequency of the wave or tendril of energy that is coming in, then it may affect you more than someone whose frequency is different. That's my working hypothesis at the moment. That's my to define how it is that everyone is feeling different things at different moments. What was that? So interesting shit. My one thing I want to say is, I really hope that people have had enough of the dates, the dating game, so to speak, to not put their all behind these dates that are being given out. To not expect. I honestly feel that we are fed false dates a lot of times. And why is it? Because what happens when a date goes by and everyone goes, and then nothing happens and everyone goes, and each time it takes you lower and lower and lower. It becomes depressing, anxiety, etc. So I do think that they feed us false dates quite often. Things like the mass arrests that are going to happen tomorrow. Just saying. So I don't want people to get really, really tied to all these dates that are coming. I'm bringing them up as an example of some of the data that I'm looking at. I mean, God knows, I, like everyone else, just keep saying, can we just have this done, please? Can we just have this done, please? Seriously, I'm fucking done. Just like all of the rest of you guys. I just don't want everyone to get too sucked into a narrative, too sucked into any single narrative, exact dates, etc., because you don't want to have to deal with the backlash if nothing happens. That's my words of caution. That's my cautionary word. Do you guys have anything to add to that? Yeah, Deb, take everything as a theory. Yeah, and that's what we have to do. We have to take everything as a theory. You know, we have ideas, we discuss them, we put information out there, we look at these things. It's all theoretical. And like I said, personally, I don't believe that what we're feeling is negative. That's my personal gut. You know, there are days when I feel like such crap that you're just like, oh, I wish I could blame someone. I personally don't see this stuff as negative. And it's really, really funny because I was thinking back on a conversation I had back in late 2011 with one of my best friends, Nicole. And we're sitting around, all the kids were playing, and we're having a good chat about it. And we're talking about things that going through, like, you know, like all of a sudden you get that heart palpitations which started happening, and things felt like they were like, and we both joked then, it was like, you just got to suck it up. Just suck it up and be like, okay, I got it. Okay, hit me again. Send me more. I can do more. Like, we can go, let's go faster. Let's go faster. Of course, that was back in 2011. Now we're 2018, and I don't know about the go faster thing, but how about just go over? Just be over. That's all. We're done.
Yeah, I don't even feel that it's a negative thing. It's never felt negative. I mean, from seeing them trying to do all their stuff and failing at it, it's like, no, it's not going away that you know, like, honestly, people being put into concentration camps or anything like that, or martial law being like, yeah, no.
Nope. No, and I don't, you know, this is the whole thing. So every time, okay, talk about dates. So we go through this and we'll talk about dates. Everyone went completely hyper over Jade Helm. You guys remember Jade Helm? That was like August, what was it,
2016, 15, somewhere around there for me.
2015. And everyone was like, oh, this is all happening. Oh my God, it's going to be martial law. It's going to be blah, blah, blah. And people lost their shit. I mean, they did. They fucking lost their shit. And then about every 6 months, there's another one that plays out exactly like this. So back in October of last year, 2017, there was a big one coming up that everyone was saying November 5th. Was it November 5th, I think? And it was like, oh my God, it's going to be martial law. It's going to be this, and the United Nations is going to come in, and they're going to take us all over. And I was like, seriously, people, why do you keep falling for this? They do this like every 6 months because of the same thing. If you can keep telling people something is going to happen, and you feed it into the alternative media, and everyone runs with it, and like I said, it doesn't have to be the extreme negative, like, you know, like martial law, disaster, they're coming to take your guns, blah, blah, blah. It's the other stuff. Mass arrests are about to happen. Yeah. The mass arrests are happening. They're going to start next week. They're going to start next month. They're going to start tomorrow. It's always the next day, right? Sorry. We've seen jack shit. And people can talk all they want, I'm sorry, about all this Q stuff and all the rest of it. But all this talk about mass arrests, there's no evidence that supports any of it. Because they do this to us all the time. Set up a date, set up an event, and then go. Yeah, Nasara is exactly. Nasara is going to happen tomorrow. The Iraqi dinar will RV tomorrow. And you know, they're still going on about that shit, which blows my mind. Yeah. I don't know. Look, it's balance point, right? We all have to be balanced. We all have to be balanced. Having said that, though, like I said, I know every so often I go on one of my prepper kicks when I talk to everyone about prepping, and I think I got into that a little bit in the last conversation we had last Tuesday. My guts have had me going out and buying stuff and putting food down and making sure we have extra water and that we have a little bit of cash on hand in the house. That's just my guts, right? That's just my guts. So yeah, but I mean, with the way shit has been going with wild storms and floods and hurricanes and earthquakes and volcanoes, being prepared and having food on hand and stuff on scent, yeah, it's just called common sense. Okay, Brianna, I just realized that you had changed your name to Fred the Red Penguin. I'm sorry. It just took me a second to realize that that was you. That's funny. That's just too fucking funny. So, yeah. Gail, NESARA. Can anyone tell me what it actually stands for now? I can't remember. The National Economic something. So NESARA is about the farm claims. In the U.S., way back, there was a whole pile of farmland that was taken. It was a huge loss, and I'm really condensing this information there. It was a massive lawsuit against the government. The government lost. They owe all these money back to all these farmers for all this land. And of course, they haven't paid not even a fucking red cent. Out of that came NESARA, which is basically the short story of it is purportedly a law was passed 1995, I think, to institute NESARA, which is the taking down of the government, to take down the cabal, to pay back everyone all the money that they've ever paid in taxes, that you'll get all your money back that you've ever paid in taxes will be given back to you. Higher standard of living, blah, 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 blah. The Omega, so the Omega program, the farm claims, the RV and NESARA, yeah. All this stuff was all supposed to happen. Well, does it sound familiar? Does it sound familiar now? Like, oh, we're still waiting for all these mass arrests. Oh, and of course there'll be announcements that would happen that would then tell everyone about the truth of what the government's done to them, all the world governments around the world, what they've done. The truth would be revealed, and then would come disclosure that they're dealing with alien races, etc., etc., etc. That's all supposed to be part of this off. And it's the same stuff, and the same information is still going around, which is why I'm hesitant to go back to the stuff with the HCs, the hypnosis stuff. Which is why I'm hesitant to put much weight behind it, the QHHT, thank you, hypnosis. Because of the fact of these programs have been planted into the awake communities, into the New Age community for generations. Now, we're not just talking about, oh, it's been since 2012. We're talking this kind of shit has been since fucking New Age movement has been around. There's always going to be this mass thing that's going to happen. It's going to be this event, and it's going to lead to this, and this. So when I hear these words come out again, yeah, you have those moments where you get really hopeful, like, oh my God, is it actually going to happen? But we also have to look at it and say, we've been told this stuff before. And I'm not a professional hypnotist. I've never studied this stuff, but I know enough about the psyche and about various levels of consciousness to know that your subconscious can be just as programmed as your conscious. And if you've been living on these stories of this programming, of NESARA, disclosure, all this wonderful stuff's got very new agey kind of stuff coming out, then I could totally see how the same stuff could come out during a hypnosis session. I actually sent a message to Alison Coe because I'd like to have her on the show to discuss it. And one of my big questions is, how many of these people who've talked about the event under hypnosis were your average Joe Blow who came in because they wanted to get job advice, financial advice, etc.? And how many of them are in the New Age movement? Because if all these people who talked about the event are all people who followed along all the galactic disclosure stuff and the Nasara stuff and all of this, then what program is running? What program is running? And it could be that, as with everything, the basis of the story may be true. And it's the details that kind of haze things over and are misleading, the sideways details, if you will. So if they know an energy event is going to happen, because they can see it coming scientifically, quite literally, I would think that one of the things that they would do is be to try to prep people for it in some way, shape, or form, i.e. through programming. I don't know. Yeah, we all want the happy ending program. And you know what? On some level, I'd say most of us want the savior program too. Because we all have those moments where it's so overwhelming and this mess is so big and so deep and so tall, there's no way to clean it up. There's no way at all. And the idea that something, someone, some group, whatever, is going to come in and save the day, I'm pretty sure most of us would be quite happy to stand there and applaud. Thank you, Deb. That would be my Dr. Seuss quote for the night. And I use that line in my house to describe my house at least once a week. Dr. Seuss. Yes, Dr. Seuss. No, Dr. Seuss. Nice. Very funny. And there are loads of QHHT practitioners. So my question is, are any of these types of things coming up in other types of hypnotism? Right? Like if we're talking about hypnotism, is our, pardon me. So the QHHT is based off of Dolores Cannon stuff. Well, what did Dolores Cannon always talk about? She always talked about the wave, the first wave, the second wave, the third wave. She talked about the new earth. She talked about all these things. So if people who are going to have that specific type of hypnosis session, are they people who follow her stuff? In which case, is that where the subconscious stuff is coming from? At least in the details. At least in the details. Right? You can have, how can I say this? You can take 10 people and give all 10 of them a piece of information. It's a very undetailed, just a piece of information that is very simple. And then ask 10 people to interpret that piece of information. And 10 people are going to interpret it differently according to what their background is, what their upbringing is, what their belief system is, etc., etc. So is that what we're seeing? If you get a bunch of QHHT people who follow Dolores Cannon and that genre, then are they interpreting the information through their own belief structure? Which doesn't make the information invalid. It just doesn't necessarily mean that the details are as given, because many of the details could be being filled in by your own subconscious, filling in your belief structure to make sense of how this would all go the way you want it personally to go or believe it will go. So yeah, I would be interested to know, are there other hypnotists who are coming across the same information? If anyone runs across any other videos of other people bringing forward this information, but that are not involved with this one specific form of hypnosis, yeah, I want to hear about it. I'd like to know. I know that I've been kind of, where I couldn't find the time, I've been kind of crawling through the internet looking to get pieces, what pieces fall into place. So like I said, lots of information about solar particles, lots of information about neutrinos, lots of information about all this kind of stuff happening. So, you know, is there something happening? I think we can all attest that there's something fucking going on. I don't think there's any one of us here who believes that there's nothing going on and it's just like another same old day. You know, oh yeah, it's just the same old normal shit. Because yeah, it's not same old, not even a little bit. Yeah, I was thinking, Deb, I was thinking about self-hypnosis and thinking like, could you hypnotize yourself? But then the same thing comes up. If you have a latent belief structure that's lingering around there, are you just going to bring up your own belief structure to interpret data? I don't know. Now, like I said, there was some of the specifics pieces that were given in these hypnosis sessions that I really was like about, because they took pieces that I've seen myself, pieces of information, visualizations that were given throughout some of these sessions that, yeah, I've seen those. I've been there. I've done this kind of stuff, and I know. And we talk a lot about the kind of work that we all feel that we must do in the nighttime, in the dream time, where we're off somewhere else doing other jobs, and you come back and you've got fucking bruises and you're exhausted, etc., etc. So there is some stuff that comes up in these sessions that really does give validity according to some of our own personal conversations that we've all had here in Unfuckers. And there's a piece of fuzz flying around. Go away. So I don't know. Like I said, use your discernment. Go with the flow. The one thing I can say is, people have to do what makes them feel good at the moment. As far as, if you're tired, go sit down. Go take a nap. If you feel overwhelmed, take a moment for yourself. Because it seems like it's whatever it is really, really ramping up. And I think it's only going to get to be more over the next little while. So everyone's got to kind of look after themselves. Look after yourself. Take the time that you need to be able to deal with the symptoms, or whatever the fuck you want to call it that we're going through. And share your advice with everyone. Like, if you find something that works for you, share it. Let other people know and say, hey, you know, I did this and it fucking really, really helped me. Yay, it was awesome. Yeah, Gail, you and your soap, you're going to have to tell them that story, because that was too fucking weird. Because that was seriously crazy shit.
I don't know if you guys have heard of restless leg syndrome, but I've suffered with it on and off pretty much all my adult life. Shut red. And the last, I don't know, a week, 5 days, it's gone epic. I have no covers left in the morning. I can't sleep. I can feel this energy building up in my legs, and I tried to resist it and I can't. And it just went off this. It just went mental, and I'm losing so much sleep with it. So anyway, we were chatting. Me and Bree and Danny were chatting yesterday morning. Yeah, it was yesterday morning, wasn't it? Anyway, Anne comes up with this site that says might be helpful, and there's a few little old wives' tales going on in there. And one of them was to rub soap onto your legs or sleep with a bar of soap. And it was like, right, let's go see if I got some soap. So I did, and we were, I don't know, we'd stopped chatting, hadn't we? We were just texting, and I just got this soap and I started to rub it onto my legs. And
Dry, just dry.
it's dry, yeah, just dry, all over my legs, ankles, feet, up onto my thighs, and literally instantly I had this inward cooling sensation, and I thought, that's interesting. Okay. And last night I did it again before I went to bed. I kept the soap right next to me, and it went. It just went. It was instant relief. It was quite hilarious, really. So we talked about it being placebo effect, but I could seriously feel this cooling relaxation from within outwards. It wasn't sort of like outwards and in. It literally was. It was quite funny. So we were just wondering whether it's like the pH balance of it.
We were going.
Can't work it out.
The thoughts of like, but do they use lye in commercial soaps? Because that was the only thing I could think of. Was like, okay, soap is made with lye. Is there something in lye? Lye comes from charcoal, right? And kind of going with the whole carbon thing again. But I'm pretty sure they don't use lye in.
I don't know. Well, I'll have to Google the ingredients.
Commercial soaps.
I've had that soap for, I don't know, probably about 5 years in the drawer. Don't use soap. So it's been sat there. But I haven't had any symptoms all day now thinking about it. And I can normally, if I relax and I think about it, and I can feel that energy within. And I just think, oh, it's gonna like really crack on when I'm lying down, and it's a vile feeling. Does it say? No, because I want a good night's sleep.
She's not willing to take the chance. She's just going to keep sleeping with her bar of soap, which was why
Like that.
she starts sweating. She's going to turn into bubbly Gail.
Slide out the bed.
Just slide out of bed.
So yeah, that was my. I tried it. It worked for me. So.
Yep.
It's a new blankie. It's a new blankie. Like when little kids have their little blanket that they
do your
sleep
bar of
with.
soap. It'll be your blankie. Yeah.
I'll have one clean side. But what was it? Who was it who just said that? Kale, try without soap. No, Laurie. Well, because it worked so instantly. There's actually no reason why I couldn't try it. Just if it doesn't work just by the leg massage, but then I've massaged my legs so many times in the past, just trying to relax the muscles,
to release and yep.
Yeah. So, what was yours? Yeah, drag a boulder.
Yeah, come on. You should have seen heard the fucking ideas we were throwing at Gail for this. I don't know. Put a rock in your bed. See if that'll ground you out while you're there sleeping.
Oh, she said just put it. Just lie your legs on it. I was like, have you actually? If you could see, you can only lie still for about 5 seconds, and then you've got to move. I'd have smashed up ankles and
black and blue.
I sleep with crystals. It hasn't worked, so there we go. That's my soupy story.
Oh yeah, but this is the thing. Like we're kind of coming up with all kinds of stuff and going back to old things. And I've had a few people just recently and I think I talked to you and said to you, Gail, about putting the diatomaceous earth and the fuller's earth in your shoe. A bunch of people were having foot problems and having problems feeling just like they're ungrounded, for lack of a better word. And I got them all and was like, get some clay, like dry clay, and put it in your shoe. a sprinkle of kaolin clay. I use kaolin clay because it's really, really easy and it's soft. If you've got really fine diatomaceous earth, you could do a similar thing with that as well. And just sprinkle it into your shoe and like shake the shoe around so it's well spread out. Put cotton socks on, like natural fiber socks. And it's helped a lot of people. It's really helped them. They felt better. They felt like they've got this, like, just a little bit of something there that just kind of helps, like, I don't know, like literally maybe ground out the energy. A pink of black granite, really, Fred? But okay, so Gypsy, do they have to be like a proper copper penny and a silver dime then? Because that's the other one. My grandma used to swear by that. And I can't remember what she used to tell us to do it for, but they had to be old coins. So like the copper penny and a silver dime, and put one in each shoe. And I can't remember if it was copper right, silver left. Yeah, but you gotta have them, yeah. Put a Bitcoin in your socks. Ha ha, ha 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 ha. They're very funny. Listen, I'm all over clay right now. Right now, clay is one of the biggest, most important things we can be doing. I'm working on several things myself for Guy's Garden that are all going to be dealing with clay. Right now, detoxifying, as we keep talking about over and over again, clay is one of, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the best detoxifiers. And you can use it in so many ways. Like it's not just to like put it as a face pack. I mean, you can literally use it as a dry powder, right? Like white kaolin clay for hundreds, if not thousands of years, has been used as like a body powder, for perspiration and things like that. And if you have bad feet problems, as in if you have athlete's foot, if you have any kind of foot odor problems, etc., 5 parts kaolin clay, 1 part baking soda, mix it together, sprinkle it in your shoes, takes care of the problem instantaneously. Oh, yeah, you know what? Hey, listen, Brianna, that was one of the pieces. So I've actually just emailed Clif, and I know he's moving again, like he's in the middle of doing another big truckload move this weekend. So I didn't expect to hear, let's go double check, but I didn't expect to hear back from him this weekend anyway. But yes, Clif High, and I was really busy while I was listening to the Three Amigos interview while I was like doing all kinds of cleaning and stuff, so I didn't get a chance to sit and really concentrate on it. No. He talked about the C60, and he talked about I think he got into the magnesium, not the magnesium, hydrogen water as well. But apparently Bix Weir was having a health issue, and Clif sent him to someone or got him to go look into some information, and I can't remember what it is, unfortunately. Now, guys, I'm sorry. And it's a guy who's a doctor, who was actually a heart doctor, who came up with this, and it's talking about some vegetables are not good for you. And people are going wildly insanely on eating all these vegetables, and that some vegetables are really, really unhealthy. And there's a chemical. It's funny because Ben and I talked about this in a conversation just about a month ago. Vegetables, don't think all vegetables, but plants have a certain protective chemical that they release to keep predators away. Predators, i.e. anyone who would eat plants, whether you're a rabbit or a human, right? This chemical is really, really bad for your health. And Deb, he didn't really get into the details of it. Yeah, it was Leslie something. It was a particle in vegetables that kills, basically. And he was saying that most people don't realize this, and that grains are one of the most toxic ones. They have one of the highest levels of this chemical. And he said, like, the fact that grains were never meant to be eaten by humans. Like, it was always used for hundreds and hundreds of years. Grains were used to feed livestock type thing. And so, yeah, I mean, it was one of those really interesting things. And then they made a couple of really funny comments about vegans and stuff like that, which made me giggle my ass off. But yeah, I'm going to go back and actually re-listen to it. Now, right at the beginning of the show when I brought it up, someone posted the link to the Three Amigos interview. If not, I will remember to pull it out and post it. But it comes back to balance. Every time someone comes up with, I'm sorry, but a diet that is an extremism, and it doesn't matter what diet it is, anything that is an extremist is, I'm sorry, probably not going to be healthy for you. At least everyone that I've ever really looked at, and I mean, I've gone through and looked at the paleo diet and the Atkins diet, and I've looked at, oh God, I was vegetarian and vegan myself for years. Yeah, not everyone can eat nightshades. Not everyone can eat beans and lentils. I cannot touch lentils. And it doesn't matter what kind they are. It doesn't matter whether they're people like, oh, we need to get organic ones. I'm like, no, you don't get it. I can't eat lentils. They make me in so much pain in my digestive tract. Chickpeas, most beans. I can do beans. Like I've got baked beans cooking right now. I have to soak them for a minimum 24 hours. I soak my beans until the water starts to froth at the top. And then I dump the water out and rinse them really, really well. And then I put fresh water in and I boil them for 2 hours. And then they go into the slow cooker and I cook them for 12 hours. And if I am not, even then I love baked beans. I love homemade baked beans. So it's kind of my downfall. But even then, I have to be really careful. There's a lot of vegetables. Like a lot of people can't eat the cabbages. Some people can't eat. There's a lot of the vegetables that are very hard on people. So, yeah, I don't know. And the other thing is there is no such thing as a one-size-fits-all thing. As far as I'm concerned, everyone has to figure out for themselves what their body can take, what their body can eat, and what their body can thrive on. And the balance that you need. Because I'm sorry, diets don't work. And they'll never work for everyone because everyone's different. Everyone has different needs. I'm sorry. And everyone wants to go back to this whole thing of like, yeah, he was actually funny. He says, yeah, Clif was a vegetarian for 30 years and he now eats fish. And he's taken up fishing to catch his own fish, and he's now planning on starting to hunt. Turkey, I think is what he was going after, wild turkey, something like that. At that point in time, I was washing dishes, so it was kind of difficult to hear. Yeah, Gypsy, we're all different flowers, and we all need different things, and we need different ratios of things. And that's one of the reasons why I say that people really, really have to figure out for themselves what makes them work. What makes you work? What makes you work and what doesn't work for you? Regardless of how many people tell you how wonderfully healthy it is. I can only eat a very small amount of coconut oil or coconut in anything. And I love Thai curry. I fucking love Thai curry, which of course is done in the base of coconut milk. But I can only do it about once a month. I killed myself last month because I made curry about 3 times during the month. And by the 3rd time of having coconut milk, my guts were a disaster. And it's the same thing. I can cook with a little bit of coconut milk. Or coconut oil, sorry, but I can't do a lot of coconut oil. It doesn't set well in my stomach. And again, it doesn't matter whether it's organic or it's refined or raw or blah, 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 blah. That's my own piece. I can drink fucking olive oil, literally. It works for my system. Yeah, hunting. Yeah, I grew up in Nova Scotia when I was little, out on the island, and it was a time when people didn't have much money, and hunting was how you ate. And I've eaten mountain lion, I've eaten bear, I've eaten raccoon, I've eaten like literally whatever got caught or hunted was what you had for dinner that night. Yeah, and this is the thing. Everyone has got different, even in the type of proteins that work for you. It was really, really interesting. And someone brought up fatty, like they can't do fatty meats, right? When we lived in Morocco, of course, pretty much the only thing we ate was chicken. And if we had a little bit of extra money, we could afford some beef because beef was quite expensive. And after a couple of years, I mean, Nick and I used to say to the fact of like, I feel like I'm starving. I feel like my body is so desperately in need of something. There's something missing from our diet. You could eat a massive meal. It could be chicken and vegetables. It could be potatoes. It could be rice. It did not matter. And you would still feel there was something missing. And we got to Australia, and a friend of Mark's who we were staying with gave him a joint of a pork shoulder from their pig farm. And I was joking saying, oh my God, it's been so long since we've had pork because Muslim country, you can't get pork. And so I did this nice herb rub on it, the whole thing. We put it in the oven. We roasted this thing up. And Nick and I had it, and both of us had the exact same reaction of like, oh my God, I actually feel good. Not good, like something had been satisfied. There was something that we had been missing. Now, I don't know if it was we'd had too much lean. There's just not enough that we needed that fat in our diet. And now we live in Malta, which is like capital of pork. They have some of the best pork products in the world because all the pigs are kept on one tiny island and no other animals are allowed on that island. And it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't bother my stomach. It actually makes me feel sometimes better. Yeah, everyone's different. Everyone is different. There are fatty fishes, kind of, sort of. See, and I can't do like the small fish, like trout and stuff with the bones. That makes me I can't stand the all the little bony fishes. But I love swordfish and tuna, fresh tuna. Johnny, when we lived in the Congo, buffalo was all we could get for beef. Beef was buffalo, and it was wow. After a while, that was really, really hard on the stomach. Yeah, I like the big fish when it comes to fish. I don't like the little fish. Big fish, yes. The little fish, no. No. But yeah, I mean, basically, it all comes down to everyone just got to figure out what works for them, what works for their body, and everyone can tell you certain things are super healthy and super wonderful, and you absolutely should eat them. But you know what? If they don't work for you, they don't work for you. You guys are funny. Yeah. Actually, I have to say there was one small fish they used to get in Morocco, and I have no idea what it was called because, of course, the name of it was only in Moroccan. And it was a very small fish like this, but when they would fillet it, the bone would just lift right out, and it was really, really good fish. Really, really good. Yeah, they have all different vibrations and frequencies, so stands to reason different diet needs and likes. And if you go back into the theory that sorry guys, it's that time of night, my cough is bad again. If you go back into that theory that we were genetically created from all kinds of seed stock, so to speak, then some of us are going to have different genetic makeup backgrounds than others of us. And like I said, I've gone through on this conversation for years and years and years with different people that I've known who've gone through just bizarre fucking experiences with diet. And I always say that no, like some of us are just with just a different genetic makeup than other people, which is why some people can eat raw vegan their entire life and be glowing with health and vitality and just, really, really that is their diet, and other people it doesn't work for. Really, Johnny? He said there's an oral tradition that an entire lake fell from the sky with fish and other living organisms in it out west. Huh. Cool. Well, it's funny. So we're talking about traditional stories. So next week I'm going to have a special guest on Sunday. I'm going to be interviewing Cara St. Louis, who is just about to launch a new DVD of her story of the Fae. And I got to have a prequel. Look at the DVD. Listen to someone. And there's going to be some interesting shit because she does a retelling of some of the ancient Irish stories. And it's really, really interesting because we've been talking about, Clif High talked about the Numo and the Dogon people in the Numo and their stories, how creation kind of thing happened. And then we have, when I talked to Hookdokte from the Mohawk Nation in Canada, and he gave us the creation story for the Mohawk people and how that kind of plays out. And now we're going to be talking to Cara about the Fae, and there's interesting pieces in all these stories. Now, I don't know if you guys, I think I posted it, I think a couple of people posted it in the Unfuckers room. There is a guy, and I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. I've actually got a girlfriend of mine who speaks Italian, listening to the original video where he's speaking Italian. It's a guy who was a translationist working for the largest printing company, I guess, in Italy for all the biblical stuff. And this guy put out a whole pile of stuff. And Sarah Westall interviewed him. There's a part 1 and part 2 of that, and it's really, really good. I can't remember the guy's name. I'm sorry, guys. And he was hired to translate Mario Biaglio. Mario Biaglio. Yeah, something like that. It's very similar to that. He was hired by the Vatican to translate the early books of the Bible from their original script form. And he discusses the fact of, first of all, God, as religion teaches about God, is never mentioned in the Bible. And that basically the aliens came down and they were cloning people and doing genetic experiments, etc., etc. And that's what the original Bible says. So, huge door opening, again, because now we start looking at all these pieces are all falling into place, all at the same time.
Hey, Danny.
All at the same time. Yeah?
Just real quick, I found Clif High's video. It's about an hour long on the Nemo.
Yeah?
Stories of the Salish and all of these other places, the Nemo and also the Anunnaki and all like that. I already posted it earlier about 2 hours ago in the UU room, so it's in there.
Okay, can you
So
do me a
his
favor?
version
You
is
drop me the link in a private message so I don't, you know how bad it is with the UU room. I can only see half the things that are going on in Fuckers. My Facebook is
It's
that.
all good. I'll make sure that you get a copy of
Good.
that.
Please do.
Right.
Because these are the things we're looking, and it's so funny because 2015, I was so like, we need to go back and look at the creation stories. Like, we really, really need to start gathering up these creation stories and start looking at them again. And by creation, and the mythologies of all these things and start analyzing them. And now we look at it now, all this information is coming out. And it basically all corroborates itself. It all corroborates this. Oh, well, listen, Deb. Okay, so Deb just wrote, the Bible stolen from the Jewish texts who rewrote the history of the genocidal bastards with the Sumerian people, or something like that. Vatican and Jewish leaders know that their texts are pure bullshit. If you saw the article I put out earlier this week, where the Pope is just been given, they've just retranslated the Torah, which is the Hebrew book. The Torah, I believe, is the first 5 books of the Bible: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And it's like a new translation, I guess. The Book of Law. And the Pope made these some wild statements about how these are so important, etc., etc. And I was just like, holy shit! Like, because this ties into, of course, the Noahide laws, also come from the first books of the Bible, etc., etc. So I did a big write-up on RTS Earth, and cross-published it on Steemit. Would have been Monday or Tuesday, I think. So yeah, retranslating these books of the Bible, like the old Hebrew books of the Torah. You have to remember now, we're talking about the Torah. Those first 5 books of the Bible are not just the first 5 books for the Jewish faith, not just Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. They all believe those, like that's their creation story and their book of laws, etc., etc. Seriously fucking crazy shit.
But under the Jewish law, if I remember correctly, you cannot change the Torah. Like, you're not supposed to, like, change, you know.
Well, that's what the Bible says too. The book of Revelations, the last 2 scriptures of Revelations, is like, basically anyone who changes these words is cursed for death forever and ever, you know. Yet we know they change that shit all the time too.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, and at this time they're just retranslating the Torah. It just so happens that this Mario Baglioni, or what, I'm sorry, I don't know what his last name is properly, that he has come out over the last couple of years saying, no, that's not what the books of the Bible say. Not what the books of the Bible say at all. Interesting shit. Now you talk about truth coming out, right? We talk about disclosure. Well, this shit is all disclosure. It's all fucking disclosure. Well, David, that's what I'm saying. The Torah is not to be changed one iota. Yeah, it's not supposed to be. Yet here it is that if you read that article that I posted, they're basically talking about a new translation of the Torah, and it's an illuminated translation, and they've got, I guess, side notes on it, so they can decide, tell you exactly what this means according to their religion.
Yeah, quick note, Danny, on the article that came out about that. It's this amazing volume that the artwork is incredible.
Apparently.
Yeah, and for this version, they've created 128 copies of it. One of the copies is going into the secret Vatican. But in this printing of it, there's only 128 copies of it that are made. Take that for what it is and what they'll do with it. But the fact of them doing that in the first place.
Oh, and by the way, the other story that was running around rampant for the last 2 weeks is the story that the Vatican is going into their archives to release the true name of God from some scroll. It's bullshit. I've looked everywhere for the backup corroboration. I've been to all the Vatican websites, all the Catholic websites that I use as reference points. No mention of that happening. So that's just another piece of bullshit that's been put out there. Like the whole thing that CERN blew up last week. Didn't happen. There was no explosion at CERN. CERN is not even running at the moment. So this is there's a massive amount of bullshit out there. And I think some of it is just pure human greed. People think if they can put out a story that is really sensational, everyone will quote their story, they'll get lots and lots of hits, and then, they'll make lots of money. Or they're just fucking trolls who are putting out disinformation because that's what they're told to put out. Ah, yes. Trolls everywhere, trolls. There's fucking trolls all over the place. And you know what? The sad part of it is, I think that a good portion of trolls don't even realize that they're trolls. I think there's, obviously that you've got those paid trolls that are set in by corporations, by governments, etc., to go in and switch everyone's thoughts and social programming. But the vast majority of trolls have no fucking clue that that's what they actually are. David, I agree. I really think that they're losing the narrative. Their narrative is losing steam radically, and they have to just keep trying to create something to validate their points. And it's across the board. It's not just religion. It's like all these different pieces of it. They've got whether it's the global warming or whether it's the politics or whether it's the finance, everything. They're trying so hard to keep their storyline going, or to at least try and keep some kind of validity to the storyline to keep people still believing, because their storylines have gotten so ridiculously far-fetched, have gotten so ridiculous that people are waking up unbelievably fast right now. Yep.
It's like they have a bad hand at poker. You know what I mean? They have this bad hand that they're playing with.
Yep. It's got a pair of twos and they just got to bluff. They just got to keep bluffing and hope that they can win. The whole article about conspiracy theorists and crisis actors on CNN. No, exactly. It's the same thing. The only time they brought up the Mandela effect is where they have no choice, because it's become such a big topic to not say anything is to be a screaming voice. It was the same thing with Occupy Wall Street. I mean, the media ignored Occupy Wall Street for 2.5 weeks until it got to the point where they had no choice but to say something, because to keep ignoring it when everyone was talking about it on social media, etc., it makes them suspect. And I think a lot of this stuff is like the same thing. They've got to spin it. It's conspiracy theories and crisis actors. All of a sudden, it's everywhere, especially after the Florida shooting, that whole false flag. That becomes so insane that they have no choice but to put out something to try and spin doctor the story, twist it around, do something with it. Yeah. So one of the other little pieces that came out this week, and Bix Weir and Clif High both talked about it a little bit on the interview, but Bix put out an actual whole report on it, in the cryptocurrency world. If you guys remember Mt. Gox, it was taken down for insider trading. It was a Bitcoin company, and they were ordered by the courts to pay back all this money and all these Bitcoins. And it turns out that it's just come out this week that the court appointed a trustee. And it was the trustee's job to deal with what the court told him to do with all these Bitcoins. And we saw in late December and January, and right into February, the price of Bitcoin go down. Turns out this trustee was dropping massive piles of Bitcoins into the open market. And he was doing it at times that made absolutely no sense. And Big Square has put out a whole analysis of the whole thing. It's about a 20-minute video where he analyzes the fluctuations of the coins when they know he sold off the coins. Wasn't selling them off high to get the maximum value. It was very, very obvious that this guy was being told when to sell off these piles of Bitcoins to deliberately drop the price, which is what I said back in December. I said we're going to see the price start falling because they have to keep the price low because everyone wants to buy in. And the only way they can get everyone to buy in is to keep the price of the Bitcoins low. And this Mt. Gox guy, they've just come out and outed the fact that's exactly what he did. And someone, obviously, because there's no possible way of any logical reason for him to do what he did at the times that he did, there's no way. Unless he was being told to. Being told, yep, go dump, 40,000 Bitcoins onto the market. 400,000, whatever. Massive amounts of Bitcoins were being dropped in. So, very interesting shit, because that just, as far as I'm concerned, just strengthens my hypothesis that I said in December that these guys are buying in, and all the countries are buying in. I'm still standing by that, and that was the other new announcement. I think with Big Square announced that too this week, that all the countries are going to be buying into cryptocurrencies. And I was like, yep, and that's why the price has fallen for the last 3 months continuously, because for them to buy in, they need the prices low. It's exactly what they did in 2012 with the Iraqi dinar currency and with gold. They sold everyone that had to do the Basel III, you're going to have to be Basel III compliant, and the price of gold just kept falling and falling and falling because they needed everyone to buy in. Well, you mean you got to knock the price down really, really low. Now, Fred lives on dates. She really, really does live on dates, so she's not going to have that problem, John. You guys are all talking about food, and seriously, now you're making me hungry.
Hey, Danny,
Yeah.
did you see the video I posted on UnFuckers about that technology that is far way better than what Bitcoin is? I posted on UnFuckers.
I haven't seen it, no. I haven't seen it. Because my Facebook is screwed. So if people are posting comments to me on Unfuckers or even posts and tagging me on them, I'm not seeing half of them. I have to literally leave I go through the Unfuckers group as recent.
Okay, then should I private message you it then?
Yeah, please do.
Okay,
I will. Private message.
Okay, I'll do that.
Good, thanks, darling. So yeah, all the insanity abounds. All the insanity abounds. Crazy shit, crazy shit, crazy shit. So, yeah, that's it, guys. Do you got anything else to add to this? Anyone else? Anyone? No, jailing, Megan. It was jailing I was saying. Jailing is our unfucker photographer with the moon shots. So we need jailing and a super duper camera to take pictures of the moon on the 18th and 19th. Someone's got to remind me. Send jailing a message about that. Yeah, okay, well, that's it, guys. I'm going to tidy up tonight then and say that I think we've finished all of this stuff. I will be back on Sunday, like I said, with my special guest, Cara St. Louis, to talk about the Fae. It's going to be an interesting conversation. I'm really looking forward to that. And, Wednesday, I'm not sure about Wednesday this week. I'll have to let you guys know if we're going to do a show on Wednesday or not. I'm not entirely certain. I haven't had a chance to talk to Benjamin yet. Ben and I still have to re-record that bit that we were talking about, the C60 and the DNA and all that. Maybe we'll do that on Wednesday if he's around. So that's it for us for tonight. I will talk to you guys all on Wednesday probably. Bye.
That's one small step for man, one giant